Hello. All right. So this will be the video for the roadmap for the major arteries that we want you to learn for this class. We've only picked the major arteries, ones that are really important, that stand out. There are a lot of vessels and arteries in the body that you could memorize, but we think that'd be kind of a waste to remember that many arteries. So we've chosen a few. It's going to be on this in the lab manual on page 52. We have it on the left side of the page, all the arteries that we want you to know. Also, if we kind of zoom in, like looking at the common carotid artery, you have to know that it's supplying blood to the head and neck, because arteries are always supplying blood somewhere, whereas veins, on the other hand, are going to drain blood from a region. Okay. We also have this diagram in your lab manual that can be a helpful start. However, it does not have all the arteries that you need to know. Also, it's like superimposed next to all the veins, so it could be kind of tricky to learn both the veins and the arteries when they're so close to each other. You're going to have to make your own roadmap for the arteries and the veins and eventually the hepatic portal system. So let's do that right now. Okay. So for arteries, you always have to remember the direction of blood flow. For arteries blood is going away. Arteries starts with the letter A. So its blood is flowing away from the heart. So if you were to have a question on a lab exam or a midterm about tracing a drop of blood through an artery, you have to remember that the blood is going to flow away, and as you go to every branch or through different landmarks in the body like the diaphragm or the inguinal ligament, the vessel will change its name. That's just how it goes. So let's start with the superior side of the body, superior to the diaphragm. We're going to have the aorta right here. Then you have it's the aortic arch. And coming out of the aortic arch, you're going to have three vessels. One is the brachiocephalic artery or trunk. There's only one of them. Unlike with the veins, with the brachiocephalic, left and right brachiocephalic vein, the arteries, there's only one, so you can just say trunk. But just know that for the arteries, it's not mirrored on either side. And then you have a branching point here. You're going to have all this, for the purposes of our class, we're going to call all of this running into the arm, right as you get to the armpit here, the subclavian artery. And this will be the right side, so it'll be the right subclavian artery. Always say left or right. And then this other branching point, you're going to have the right common carotid, as I try to fit it in there. Another branching point, so we're still calling this the subclavian. Well, as you're going up the right common carotid, you're going to have another branching point, and that'll be for the interior and exterior carotid arteries. Guys, carotid. And then it's the same thing for this side right here. Exterior and interior. Yeah, I think you get the point there. And then you have another branching point. This would be the right vertebral artery. Another branching point, this will be the thyrocervical trunk for the right side. Cool. All right, we got that side. Also, I want to mention that we have, coming just out of the heart towards the lung, we have the right pulmonary artery. But this is going to be carrying deoxygenated blood, whereas all the other arteries carry oxygenated blood. This is the only instance where it's the opposite case. All right, so let's go back to the aortic arch. The second vessel coming out of it would be the left common carotid. And if you can't see my writing, if you like each letter and you're wondering about the spelling, just go to your lab manual to figure that out. And then you're going to have, as I said, the external internal carotid artery. And then the next, going back to the aortic arch, you have another branch coming out. This is the left subclavian. All of this, so now we're considering this the left subclavian. You're going to see in A&P revealed that that is not the case. It stops about right here for this side, and then we'll call all this area right here the different vessels. But for the purpose of our class, that's all left subclavian artery. All right, so coming at the left subclavian, we have a branching point here. Here's the left vertebral artery. You can kind of guess these already. Left thyrocervical trunk. Cool. Left pulmonary artery. All right, so that's all the vessels there above the diaphragm. Then you'll have the descending, going inferiorly now, descending aorta, coming down through the aortic hiatus in the diaphragm. Then the first branching point we're going to have is this right here is the trunk. So let's kind of put a point to it. Celiac trunk. And this trunk is going to have, just like this thyrocervical trunk up here, it's going to have many branches coming out of it, but you need to know all the branches here that are coming out. So one would be the splenic artery, gastric artery, and the common hepatic artery. One going to the stomach, one going to the spleen, one going to the liver. And then you're going to have the superior mesenteric artery going into the mesentery, that the serous membrane folds that are going towards the small intestine. All right, then we're coming down. Then we're having the left and right renal arteries, and then coming off of that is the left and right suprarenal arteries. And these are going to the adrenal glands that are sitting just above the kidneys, where the renal arteries are going towards the kidneys, supplying blood to the kidneys. Okay, going down the descending aorta, some people also call it the abdominal aorta. Then you're going to have your gonadal, your left and right gonadal arteries. You're never going to say gonadal, though, on a lab exam. It's always either going to be testicular or ovarian, depending on the cadaver that you see in A&P revealed. And then coming down that, the next one would be the inferior mesenteric artery. This is actually going into the mesocolon, going to the large intestine. All right, then you have a branching point here. So you're going to have the left common iliac artery and the right common iliac artery. And then there's going to be a branching point. Then you can have the internal, this is all internal, right and left iliac arteries, and then the left external iliac artery, right external iliac artery. A little OCD on my R there. But then the left and right external iliac artery are going to go pass by the inguinal ligament, going through the femoral canal, and because they're going through that landmark in the body, it's actually going to change its name to the left and right femoral artery. All right. So if we can get a good view of all this, what we just did, maybe stop the video right now if you want. This is all that you need to know for arteries in your upcoming lab exam. Remember, you need to know where it's supplying blood to and be able to trace a drop of blood going from anywhere from the heart. Let's say it's coming out of the aortic arch and trace it going from out of the left ventricle and going all the way to the foot. Like, that could be a question. You'd have to name all the different vessels as it's making its way, going down that way. And if it's going to the left or right foot, then you'd have to add a left or right. Okay, so I'll have 2 more videos, one on all the major veins you need to know and one on the hepatic portal system, and you should be good to go for your roadmap for vessels for this next lab exam. Good luck, guys.